This week on Supercars Talk, only one guy is allowed to win a race, and there was a big crash. Remember the days, only a few short seasons ago, when we all got excited just before each round? What colour will Nick Percat's car be this round? Yeah, it's really, since it's been Macaulay Jones, no one seems to care. It was a little bit TRG transport, just a little bit disappointing this weekend. The big surprise, though, with Deliveries on the weekend, James Courtney's car. They seem to have done like a more holistic approach to that, the Snow River Caravans livery, and I think I preferred the previous one, a lot more teal on it, which I love that colour. It's the colour I chose for the Supercars Torque logo and all that, but I don't know, I think it probably looked better before, but the actual big surprise in livery land this weekend was the Zach Best wildcard, where they just went for that plain looking livery, and then all of a sudden, after he did so well on Saturday, they put the Tickford badges, and there was another sticker down the side. Not sure what that one was though, but yeah, very strange that they decided to go out with that one with no stickers on it on Saturday. There was some co-driver confirmations for the big race at Bathurst later on in the year. Fabian Coulthard will be teaming up with Chaz Mostert, and Warren Luff will be with Nick Percat, basically guaranteeing Nick Percat a podium up there at Bathurst, going off Warren's previous history there. He didn't get a podium last year, so I think he's due for one this year. Yes, it makes sense to put the faster. Fabian is faster than Warren Luff. There's no doubt about that. My biggest fear with that one is that I think he's got a point to prove, and I'm worried that he's going to stick that thing potentially in the wall or try and pass someone at an inopportune time or something. That's my biggest fear there. I would have probably been a little bit more comfortable with Warren Luff in the car next to him. Having said that though, I will probably be totally wrong, and he will smash it at Bathurst, and we'll have a repeat performance like last year with Lee Holdsworth. And in other co-driver Bathurst news, Jalen Robotham, he'll be joining Matt Charter in that the Matt Charter Motorsport wildcard at Bathurst. The Super 2 competitors from different teams. Robotham is a Erebus Academy driver. Matt Stone Racing has announced that they've got three Gen 3 cars on order. Their intention is that obviously one for each driver, but the third one will be a spare and a wildcard car. So that's good news, because it's been a little bit more interesting this year with a few more wildcards of that thrown in. So hopefully that continues next year, where we see a few more cars, especially the normal rounds, but really like to see some more at Bathurst. The last little bit of news before we get into the racing for the weekend is probably actually the biggest news that came out during the week. Will Brown and Brodie Kostecki have re-signed with Erebus through to the end of 2024. So that's a 2-year contract for both of them. Although Erebus contracts, do they kind of mean anything? Just ask Dave Reynolds about that. But that obviously takes both of them out of the market for the Will Davison seat that it looks like Will Davison will be keeping, because why would you get rid of him when his results have been a little bit of a qualifying hiccup over the weekend, but his racing was, once again, top-notch and kind of outshining Anton over the weekend. The racing over the weekend, Zach Best. Pole on Saturday. Whatever about the tyres, that was ridiculous. That just kind of came from nowhere. I've been a little bit with Zach over the Super 2 Championship. He hasn't been doing it as convincingly as what I think he needed to. Having said that, I thought kind of the same thing about Brock Feeney last year, and look at what he's doing. To whatever the tyres, that was amazing. So apparently with these tyres, there wasn't enough out of the batch for the wildcards to have the same tyres as the normal main game cars. So what they did was they had some leftover tyres from the Grand Prix, so they gave them to the wildcards. So then all of a sudden it became a big issue because Zach Best put it on pole on Saturday. I'm sure if he qualified 15th or 17th like Jordan Boys did, it would have just been totally ignored, and yeah, no one would have said anything. But yeah, maybe these are one of those special sets of matched tyres so you can, you know, go out and pass everyone on the last lap of the race. Once again, a bit of a storm in a teacup kind of situation, I think. I mean, who knows how much of a difference. It certainly didn't rocket Jordan Boys up the front as well. So Zach, obviously, you know, there was some talent in there to get him to the front there. Yeah, I think this would have been a better thing for them to just, shut up and just keep it quiet. And yeah, one of those great news stories that someone like Zach Best could come in and put the thing on pole. Doesn't make the other guys look like, but it just kind of, to me, it's one of those great news stories, and it elevates what the Super 2 guys are doing if they can come in and be competitive as well. The solution for the tyres on Sunday was they took the wildcard sets and then gave every one of the normal drivers one tyre from the wildcard sets, and then so you had one mismatched tyre, everyone got one. I'm not sure if the wildcard still got one of the mismatched tyres, but yeah, anyway, the last thing I wanted to say about the whole Zach Best thing, that he also raced really well on Saturday, and Scaife suggesting that Tickford should have pulled him out and stopped him early and whatever, get him out of traffic and all that kind of stuff. He shouldn't be battling with Shane Van Gisbergen and blah, blah, blah. No, leave him in there. The experience he gained this week is, that's probably worth 2 seasons of Super 2. If he is going to come into the main game next year, it's just a great thing to get that experience over the weekend. Race 2 and the big event for the weekend. All Tickford front row, and Randle, I'm not sure if it was his fault for the stall. I think it was a bit of a clutch issue, but just a kind of a wasted opportunity, I suppose, in the end there. He stalled off the start and Jaime larkumed into him. Looks like both cars are a write-off. Tickford's already said they're going to be using that Zach Best wildcard car for Randle at Sandown. I'm not sure. I would assume that Brad Jones, they must have a spare after, they did run a wildcard, I think, last year. So I assume they've got a spare sitting there. Percat got caught in the crossfire as well. His car was fairly heavily damaged. It's unfortunate that things like that happen, but sometimes they do. Mostert, though, 6th to 1st. It helped that Randle wasn't there, so he got one spot. But yeah, that start of his was absolutely amazing, and Waters then went the other way. That was obviously on the restart when they actually got racing, and Mostert didn't have too bad a weekend overall, I suppose. And then for race 3, the rain came down just before the start of the race, so we had to start on a safety car. If it's too wet to start, delay it a little bit and have a normal start or something. I don't agree with these safety car starts and stuff. I run them around for a few laps or whatever, disperse the water maybe, and then do their standing start or something. I think we missed. Yes, there was the big accident at the start of race 2, but that happened in the dry. It doesn't mean you're going to have a big accident in the wet, but we do get the excitement of the standing start. Bit more of that later. Chaz was first to nail someone in the wet, took Davison out. That was a bit, 15-second penalty for that one because it was pretty blatant. The MSR pair, they take each other out, don't even get a replay of it. What's the go with that? So many times when teammates take each other out, we just think of when Whincup took out Lowndes at Symmons Plains, or when Courtney took out Tander at Winton. We saw that 50 million times over the telecast. MSR guys take each other out, they can't even, they just show a still image essentially of the two of them, in the runoff area. Don't even, where were they all weekend? We just didn't see the MSR cars. They were down the back, but they crash into each other and can't even get on the TV. What's to go with that? My last little observations over the weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen starts thank God he isn't a good starter, because at least it, a little bit of interest in the races, because this is his third clean sweep weekend of the year, and now he's won 5 races in a row. It's just ridiculous at the moment. As ridiculous as Zach Best's on pole position. Will Davison, in my eyes, is doing a better job than Anton at the moment. I would have thought this weekend, Anton seems a bit more like Scott McLaughlin replacement kind of thing, and I would have thought, you know, this would be the weekend where Anton finally, you know, gets up and above and shows Will how it's done, and it really wasn't like that. If you look through the results, they didn't have a stellar weekend, but Davison had a 2nd and a 4th in there. Anton's best result was a 7th and an 8th, and a 5th. You know, they're not bad positions, but they're not stellar. It's obvious why Erebus have re-signed their 2 drivers and Davison is keeping his seat next year, because I think he's doing a stellar job for a man that was essentially put on the scrap heap a couple of years ago. Nicholas Percat, well, he kind of qualified better this weekend, but then kind of didn't have the same kind of race pace as a qualifying pace. I suppose it's a bit of an improvement, but yeah, race 2 obviously got involved in that first lap incident, not really his fault. Mostert was pretty much up the front all weekend. He, you know, did have a 2nd position, a 3rd position, so he's on the podium twice at a worse position of 8th. Percat best was a 14th finish, I think. My big thing though, because everyone's like, get rid of him, blah, blah, blah. Genuinely, who would you get to replace him though that is available? He was extremely impressive at BJR. The experiment using a Super 2 champion when they got forward in that car did not work. There's something fundamentally wrong there with that kind of 2nd Walkinshaw seat at the moment. I don't know if it's Chaz's somehow making that car work when other people can't. It's just, I don't know what you would do with that seat. Finally, a quick look at the championship points. Don't know why, because it's basically over. It's quite interesting after, you know, Shane Van Gisbergen, 393 points ahead of Waters. Over and out, basically. But then Anton is only 2 points behind. Will Davison is another about 50 behind. Chaz Mostert is starting to he's 656 points. He's in 5th position, 656 points behind Shane Van Gisbergen. 2 weekends plus away. Feeney Reynolds, Brody Kostecki, Jaime and Tim Slade round out the top 10. That shows you the year that some guys are obviously having. If Jaime, you know, he set out 2 races on the weekend, and Tim Slade, who's just been going backwards for half the year, he's still in the top 10. The last little thing I want to cover off quickly, Speed Cafe just put up a poll. If we should get rid of standing starts and, you know, have rolling starts. When I checked it, thankfully, standing starts has a massive lead. My opinion is we should have standing starts, and we should never start a race as a rolling like that safety car start. As I said, I'd prefer to see them do a few laps, clear out a bit of water, make sure they know what's going on, and then go and do a standing start like normal, because it is spectacular. This is why we went to sprint race weekends. So the most spectacular part of the race is the start. So then if we have 3 sprint races over the weekend, which was the original intention of these sprint weekends, so you'd have 3 times the excitement of the start of the race. You cannot guarantee that there will be excitement during a race, but you know that, you know, the start is, there's definitely going to be excitement there, because who's going to lead into the first turn? You know, if we have rolling starts, we may as well just have endurance races all the time, because you kind of take away some of that excitement with it. So that's my opinion. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree, or do you think we should have rolling starts? Were you a fan of that rolling start on the second race on Sunday? So down in the comments, let me know, and until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.